Hello, and thank you for joining me. I've got something really special in store for you all today, so stick around. Recently, while home in Virginia, I went to a flea market and came across this, and I said to myself, hey, that looks like a duck press. As it turns out, this is actually a cider press. But to me, the mechanics seemed virtually identical, and this thing is sturdy, so I figured it would be up to the job. The duck press is a device from the 19th century French fine dining world. It is an ornamental metal contraption used to crush the roasted carcass of duck to extract blood and roasting juices, which are then used to make a rich sauce to be served over the carved duck breast, an iconic dish of the fine food world to be sure. I knew I wanted to prepare this dish for a special individual, as this culinary display is reserved for the most elite and VIP guests in the dining room.
This is the reason I'm wearing a blazer.
Now, I spent some years in the fine dining world, met some great people, and learned a lot, but these days I'm more interested in great food that feels more accessible, luxury without pretentiousness. And who better to embody this spirit than André Hueston Mack? So let's get to it. Before I get cooking, I just need to do a little preparation in the dining room for our special guest. I have here a Long Island duck. I removed the legs and dried the duck in the fridge for a couple of days to help make the skin cook more nicely. We will begin in a pan so we can render some of that fat out and start to crisp up that skin. Once we have good color all over, we pop that into the oven and finish at a fairly gentle heat. We use our cake tester or a thermometer to make sure the duck is cooked how we want it for this preparation, medium. As with any respectful meat preparation, we give the protein time to rest after it comes out of the heat, letting those precious juices settle. Ah, Mack Table for One has arrived. This wine superstar has plenty of Michelin stars in his resume, but his philosophy isn't tethered to dress codes and tasting menus. For André, the vibe is substance. Hold the bowl. Take a look at his ham bar, for instance. It features an array of artisanal American country hams, the quality of which give prosciutto and serrano a run for their money. Having grown up with a reverence for Virginia ham, I love a concept that celebrates this southern salt-cured craft, and asks the question, why can't they be as good as any import? And with that in mind, why can't this humble American cider press produce a pressed duck that rivals any silver-plated contraption out there? After resting the meat, it's time to carve and get to the drama. First, I take the wings off and then gently remove the breast. I keep the duck breast in a low oven while I cut the carcass up into pieces so it nicely fits into the press. Once we are fully loaded, it's time to get cranking. It's looking good, despite the slightly awkward leverage here. It's no wonder they normally mount these things on big wooden bases. But it seems to work. Look at how compact that carcass is now. And look at them juices. With our duck essence extracted, let's finish our sauce. The base of the sauce is a duck jus, and we can brighten that up with a little pepper and maybe just a splash of cognac. Once our sauce is at a bare simmer, we go in with our duck essence. We don't want to boil the sauce. With all the blood and the roasting juices, we could end up with an undesirable consistency if we boil it. We give it a taste and make sure it's where we want it, and that, as they say, is that. And as I slice the duck breast and get ready to sauce, let's talk about what kind of wine we would serve with such an exquisite dish. Well, if you have a well-stocked cellar, maybe consider something like this 89 Zinfandel from Paso Robles. But if you don't have access to something like that, we also highly recommend the OPP, or Other People's Pinot Noir, by André's Vineyard Maison Noir. Now, let's plate it up and serve. I will fan out those duck slices ever so slightly. The meat is looking nice and rosy. Add a few glazed vegetables for color, and then we will be generous with our rich sauce. Service, please. As a man who seems to have such a thorough understanding of good taste and hospitality, I thought I would end by asking André to give the viewers his reflections on the question, what is your philosophy on living the good life?
I don't have one, right? I think for me, what I've learned is my mom used to say, hey baby, you're not supposed to be hungry if you work at a restaurant. I think for me, it's always been surrounded by food. That was one way that I could live the good life, right? I couldn't afford the car, the car, all the other stuff that forms the good life kind of thing. My entree into the good life was through food and working at really great places, right? And the great part about working in restaurants for me was you got to eat and drink above your pay grade. I guess maybe I'll talk about a reflection of my own places. For me and my own places, and when I think about hospitality and food is this understated kind of luxury, things in the raw, old things and new things together. To me, there's something great about the old and the new and textures and then ultimately you're like, yeah, that's right. It's time. It's time is the thing that's most valuable. And now it definitely manifests itself in a different way because I have children. The other day I came to work and then it hit me. I was like, oh, I didn't say good morning to my son Django today. Right? It went just like that. And I was like, and I took it. I was like, I gotta go back to my house. I'll be back in a minute, but I need to go say good morning to him. To have the time to be able to do that, to me, that's to me is luxury.
So thank you for joining us today. And a big thanks to my special guest. Next time you find yourself in Brooklyn, check out the Ham Bar and Sons, or Mockingbird Taco, and look for an oyster bar coming soon. And for more information on wine, be sure to check out André's YouTube videos, and check out his wine in a shop near you. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date, comment if you have any questions, and share my videos with your friends who maybe don't go online that much. And until next time, cheers!